We continue to remain very constructive both on the energy oil price, although clearly I'm not stupid enough to forecast it from one day to the next, but also the big oil majors, where we're seeing still the fruits of this huge self-help program that they've effectively been forced to do in the last 2 or 3 years with the collapse of the oil price. So we think inventories are coming under control. Global demand still remains very resilient. Whilst I think what you're commenting about the oil price at the moment is, I would say, cause and effect. The market was looking for this deal, so it priced it in, and then it gets the deal. You sell the fact, and the oil price goes down a bit. We think the next 2 to 3 years, the world needs a higher oil price. Tesla and electric vehicles are not going to solve anything in the next 3 or 4 years. So we're going to need oil, and we've stopped finding it. There hasn't been a meaningful oil field discovery in the last 10 or 15 years. So, we really need to find an oil price that incentivizes investment and production.
Steve, come on in.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to make a different point, actually, Neil. I would worry more about the gas price. I know I'm obsessed, it just happens to be that way, about the oil price, but I would worry more about the gas price and actually whether low gas prices in the States is an illness which is going to infiltrate the whole world. Because whether I'm speaking to Mr. Van Beurden of Royal Dutch Shell, Mr. Dudley of BP, and certainly Mr. Pouyanné as well of Total, these companies are at real pains to say we are gas and oil companies now rather than the old O&G, i.e. in many cases, gas is going to be over 50% of their total production of various commodities. So it's the gas prices rather than oil. I think we perhaps should start concentrating on just a little bit more, maybe.
You could well be right, Steve. I think that the way we tend to feel, natural gas is the essential home market of the big power generation utility companies in the US, Europe, and particularly Japan. So I think there's a longer-term market for that. But I think the world runs on oil. We fly it, we ship it, and we drive it, and therefore we still feel that's the main issue for investors.
I want to come back to the shale side, because I feel as though this is going to be a dominant issue on what activity you see in the States. And we heard from Goldman's early in the week saying there's about 30% inflation now for some of those shale producers, given all the extra costs, labour costs, and everything else they pay for at this point. What do you think they're going to do? Is there any room to absorb extra costs, to bring more supply to the market? What sort of behaviours would you expect at this point from those shale producers?
Well, we know that the shale producers effectively as an industry are cash flow negative. So they either need optimism from equity investors, leniency from bank lenders, or buoyancy in the credit markets. And they are always rapid hedgers on any rise in the oil price to secure their cash flows. So we think there is now, the easy wells are being drilled as every day goes by. So the marginal production as every month goes forwards through this year and into 2018 will yield less oil. And therefore we feel that the industry as a whole remains cash flow negative, not to say that everybody, and therefore they're going to need higher oil prices too. And having gone from a mega boom to effectively an industrial depression in less than a year, we think a lot of the capacity, a lot of the skills that were in the industry 2 or 3 years ago have left and will not return. So the companies are telling us that prices are going up, the demand is going up, and there's no ability to supply more capacity. And because oil is only 50 and not, say, 70, there's no willingness to invest in the capital kit to bring more production on. I tend to feel when I travel around the world, a lot of people are very cynical of US shale, but when you go to the US shale, everyone's, they love it. It's made in America type of thing. And so I think there's a big dissonance from the importance of shale in the mindset of Wall Street and oil in the mindset of the rest of us.